Never before in my life had I been so utterly consumed in darkness like this. Sure, lights would go out, or night would come, but this deafening darkness was different. It was as if I was formless within it all, sequestered in the baseline superiority of sound nothingness. I could feel the death of dreams, hear their everlasting cries and pleas as they were devoured relentlessly to aid in the birth of the horrors escaping my dying brain. They were beautiful. God, they were so beautiful that it was painful even to witness their resurrection. The ebony surroundings were like poison. I could feel its tendrils worm in my pores and grip the singular, shining piece of hope that I had managed to retain within my decaying heart. He had done this. He had damned me to a place where he knew I could never survive. A place that slowly reminded me of the one he had stolen from me originally. That sick bastard knew just how to dig and twist into the likewise abyss that occupied my chest. My screams aided the blackness, producing puffy clouds of shade, filled with the agony of abandonment that burned in the depths of my small intestines. I could feel wet heat drip down my face, collecting underneath my chin before dripping down my neck and the slight raise of my chest. I screamed louder into the silence, desperate for the warmth of that disgusting liquid. The freeze of the darkness was overwhelming. It groped and clenched my lungs. Its nails scraped the soft inner lining of my shrieking esophagus. It was like I could feel the something taking shape in the tenderness of my womb and clawing its way into my limbs and organs. My cries were unending, shattering the silence with humanity, something that Purgatory was lacking horridly. No other actions seemed to appropriate. I just wanted something, anything to hear me. My screams stopped suddenly, the hot liquid filling my throat and mouth to a point where I began to choke. No longer could I let out any noise, but struggling sobs and coughs, the syrupy lava splattering from my muzzle. I couldn't have begged harder for it to stop, the metallic, salty mixture scraping my taste buds numb and useless. Static filled my eyesight, finally colouring the deadly black with flecks of grey and white. I choked out a noise of joy. I could see. Oh God, I could finally see. The threads of my heart flew, my sight able to formulate the scene before me. I paused, once my eyes adjusted. It was mortifying, what I saw. Fingers wriggled playfully in front of my eyes, hand moving to try and weave the best it possibly could from what seemed to be an unnatural position. My throat clenched, attempting to let out a scream. My muscles rapidly contracted and disbanded. I sputtered and gagged, gasping for air through my clogged airway. I had to regain my composure before I could realize the real reason I could no longer speak. Sprouting from behind my teeth was a long, pale arm. It was lined with somewhat flawless skin, besides strips and trails of red. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. There was no way this was possible. It had to be some sort of nightmare. My eyes watered once more at the pressure in my head suddenly blossoming. It focused even more, and more, and more, and more. My brain crushing against the top of my skull once the piercing sting of a shoulder blade caressed my tongue. I sputtered, a laugh feebly sinking into a delirious sense of whimsy. I could feel my mind melt into ecstatic agony. My throat expanded to make room as a large, round shape forced its way through. I heard my jaw snap as the crown of the spear peeked past my lips. My vision was swallowed up into white before I felt my body ripped in half from mouth to middle. It was a blissful feeling, really. I fell, slumping to the ground like a sack of tissue and meat, unable to move. My organs bled between my split form, and my blood painted the ground delicately, like an abstract painting. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Just as those dreams had once been. The soft glow of the newly born individual slowly died from my sight. I could feel them nearby. I could feel them stare at me with a callous grin. It was muffled. Everything was muffled. But I could just hear them enough as the darkness closed in. Their voice was raspy just as mine had been in my screams. Their voice was exactly like mine, actually. I heard their laughter. I heard their delight at my death. I heard their teasing. One of us has to make it, don't you think? I finally moved into my dream house today. It was a steal of a price. A fully furnished, old Victorian country manor that looks over the beautiful Yorkshire countryside. The house is in disarray and looks like it hasn't been lived in for years, but nothing a good mop or a lick of paint can't fix. It's quiet here. The nearest neighbours are miles away, but I've always enjoyed my time alone, away from others. You see, I have a large purple birthmark, which covers half of my face, and it's always irritated me how often people rudely stare. Most people awkwardly gawk, even though they are aware they shouldn't. They can't stop looking. It'll be a longer commute to and from work now, but I'm tired of the hectic city life with so much uncomfortable attention. The middle of nowhere suits me well. I start unpacking the master bedroom. It is a large room with an ancient four-poster bed and rich velvet curtains, draped across a dome-shaped window overlooking the lush green fields. The room is dominated by an enormous old oak wardrobe, sitting in the corner opposite the window. It is the height of two grown men, and its top almost reaches the ceiling. The proportions are odd and out of scale. As the wardrobe rises, it becomes wider and leans in towards you, as if it is leering intimidatingly. Despite the beautiful craftsmanship, the wardrobe leaves me feeling unsettled. It'll be worth a small fortune though. I'll sell it eventually. For now though, it serves a purpose. I start dusting the insides. It has a faint, musty smell about it. On the bottom shelf, there's an old black and white photograph in pristine condition. It's a family portrait of a father, mother, and a little girl, all dressed in their 19th century Sunday best. The father sits in a lavish armchair between the two women, with them standing either side of him. The father has a stern, proud posture, with a cruel squint in his eyes, and the mother, a tense, nervous expression in her stance and face. The little girl has a facial disfigurement, a cleft palate on the right side of her upper lip. Her long black hair tries to cover the right side of her face. She looks as if she is about to burst into tears, and is leaning away from her father with her head facing the ground. She looks terrified and embarrassed. Poor girl. There's something written on the back of the photograph in large, angry handwriting. Never again. I place the photograph to one side and notice a pile on the bottom shelf of the wardrobe. My hands touch the top lightly and recoil. It's sharp. I look closer and realize they're fingernail clippings. Yuck. Oddly, they look like fresh clippings. What's most disturbing is that the inside door has thousands of deep scratch marks all over. It must have been caused by some kind of animal. A rat, trapped inside perhaps. Damn it, the damage would bring the value down considerably. I sweep the clippings away and put them in the bin. Most of my clothes fit in the wardrobe. The rest are put in the chest of drawers I kept from my old flat. I make the bed, and then it's time to get to work downstairs. Cleaning the kitchen is the first priority. It's a real mess. But even in its grubby state, there's potential. So I put my iPod on and get started. After a few hours of hard work, there's signs of progress. The kitchen now has warmth, which it didn't before. The sun beams in through the window and gives the mahogany surfaces a gentle glow. Feeling pleased, I reward myself with a long, hot shower. Still smiling, I return to my bedroom to grab a towel, only to see the wardrobe doors wide open and all my clothes scattered across the floor. My smile disappears. What the hell was this? Was my iPod on so loud that I didn't hear someone sneak into the house? The kitchen is right next to the front door after all. I stand still in the middle of my room, just looking at the floor for several minutes, feeling my heartbeat rising and a slight feel of dread at this intrusion. I shake my head. Bloody kids. Neighbours must be closer than I thought. They probably hung out in the house as it's been abandoned for so long. You better get out of here or I'll tell your parents. My voice echoes back at me. Silence. They're probably long gone by now anyway. Maybe they saw my face and were scared away. Maybe that'll keep them away from now on. I set about gathering my clothes, but after a long day, I can only muster the energy to pile them up next to the bed. An eerie feeling sticks with me, so I decide to take a walk to clear my head. I reach into my chest of drawers for a sweater. I notice all the clothes in there are still folded neatly. After some fresh air and a solid day of work, I'm shattered and happily greet an early night. First night in my new bed, and the mattress is so comfortable that I can't keep my eyes open if I want to. I wake with a sudden gasp, looking around the room, frantically trying to piece together my unfamiliar surroundings. Slowly, it comes back to me that I'm spending the first night in my new home. The clock reads 3 a.m. I take a few deep breaths. With sleepy eyes, I look at the bottom of my bed, and to my horror, a little girl is sitting on top of my pile of clothes. She must be about 10 or 11, with long, jet black hair. Her back is to me, and she's sharply jerking in a crying motion, but she doesn't make a sound. I'm so scared. My eyes are watering with fear, and I'm shaking uncontrollably. Get a grip. This girl is clearly in distress. Hey, is everything alright? At the sound of my voice, she instantly stops jerking and slowly turns towards me. Her skin looks transparent, as if it hasn't seen daylight for years. I'm speechless. My hands tightly clench onto the bed sheets. A cold sweat spreads over my trembling body. Finally, I see her pale, veiny face. She looks at me with two tearful eyes. I recoil in horror as I see her mouth. She has no upper lip. It's been cut off. All I see are long yellow teeth and blotchy black gums. My stomach turns and gag reflexes spasm my body. She reaches out to me with her bloody fingertips and says, Daddy said we'd be safer in there. He'll fix you too. I jolt upright, panicking as I struggle for air. My eyes squeeze tight and open to try and focus on the end of the bed. Nothing. Sleep is impossible after that disturbing dream. I glance over at the clock. It reads 2:59 a.m. The wardrobe door creaks.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. You can also leave a comment below. All feedback, good or otherwise, is always appreciated. If you have any creepy stories of your own, or have any topics that you would like me to cover, feel free to send them in via any of my social media. You can find all links to my social media in the description below. Until next time guys, make sure you lock your doors, stay safe, and I'll see you next video.